Welcome to the Lean Podcast, where empowerment and alignment come together. I'm your host, Mahogany, here to guide you through inspiring stories of resilience, overcoming grief, health challenges, career struggles, and more. Together, we'll lean into strength, embrace growth, and discover the power of sharing experiences. Before we dive into today's episode, I'd like to start with a prayer. If you feel comfortable, I invite you to join me. Dear God, thank you for this space to uplift, inspire, and empower. Bless the woman sharing her story today and those who are listening. May this podcast be a source of hope, healing, and alignment with your purpose for our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Hey, Yoshi Yosh. Welcome to the Lean Podcast, sis.
Hey, thank you for having me.
You guys, this is Yoshi. She is a mom, she is a military wife, and she is an artist. I'm so pleased and excited to have Yoshi, my dear friend, here to talk to us about the challenges that she has sometimes faced throughout motherhood. I know a lot of us who tune into the Lean Podcast are moms themselves, so I feel like this is a very necessary episode for us to listen to and really just get some understanding to see that even though we are moms and we do wear all these hats and face these challenges, that you can still have your own identity and have your own purpose about who you're supposed to be. And Yoshi's going to be here today to tell us how she's so gracefully been able to do that while being a military wife and a mom. So help me welcome Yoshi. Yay! Hey, sis. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I gave you an introduction, but as a mom and a wife and an artist, who are you?
Okay, well, yes, I'm a mom of 3 beautiful children, Phoenix, Lotus, and Virtue, 2 girls and a boy. I am married to my best friend who happens to be in the Army. And yeah, forgot my question. But yes, I'm also an artist, and music has been a part of my life since I was younger. From dancing to writing, all of that has been a part of my life. So I've just started not really tapping back into it, but starting to share it more on the outside, because some that may have known me back in the day would know a little bit, but then there's a lot of people that still didn't know or don't know. So that is something near and dear to me. And I love speaking, and I kind of wanted to go away with motivational speaking. And then something just hit me one day. I was just like guided to just have silence. And I'm like, okay, God, I just need to hear your voice, because I don't know. And then it's like, am I too old to start back doing this? But you're never too old, especially when you have a calling. And that's kind of one of the things I kept hearing, like, no, I'm not. You're only as old as you feel. And I don't feel that old. And so my knees still work good. But honestly, if I'm writing, I feel like that's the best way I can motivate and inspire and empower people, enlighten them, ignite that fire in them. So I was like, speaking's cool. And I'm like, okay, but I really like music. Like, I want to incorporate either both. So that's kind of what helped me tap back into that. I grew up a military brat. My mom was in the Marine Corps. My whole family is pretty much all military. Shout out to my mom. She retired out the military as well. And my father figured, my dad, he's in the military still. We begging him to get out. So like my whole family is just military. That's pretty much most of what I know. And with that being said, with my mom being so militant, writing came about honestly because she grounded me a lot. Like, she grounded me so bad. When we had my little sister, they thought it was my baby because people did not see me. So she was just very like strict and just kind of like, in a way, what's the word? Not harbored, but sheltered me in a lot. And so she was like, no TV, no radio. And I'm like, please don't take my radio. Like, if nothing else, don't take my radio. Don't take me off of dance class. Don't take me out of the stuff that really helps on the hard days and during the hard moments. And so she was just like, no, I'm taking all this away for months at a time. And I finally was like, okay, she can't take what's up here. She can't take what's in my mind. So I started watching. When I was allowed to watch TV, I would sneak and remember like the scripts in my mind. I would because we didn't have what we have now at our fingertips with social media. So I would start remembering the scripts. Like a movie I know from start to finish is Deliver Us from Evil. But I started doing that. Then I started reading the back of CDs, and on the CDs they would have the lyrics either, reading the inside of the booklet on the CDs. So I would read that, and I taught myself how to write lyrics. And so I had a best friend in middle school. We both loved to write and rap, so we would do that and like pass the notes to each other, check out each other's raps. And then I just stayed doing that. Anytime I was mad, I would write. Anytime I was sad, I would write. And so lyrics will just come to me, stuff will come to my mind, and I'm like, I gotta hurry up and put it down, go back to it later. So that's how writing really started for me. Dancing, all that, everything is pretty much self-taught. But of course, I've had training with like dancing and stuff like that, and the other things that I've done. But when it comes to rapping, singing was my first love. I was in the choir, but it just was like, I don't know. And I just went to rapping really, and there was a lot of influences that I had in the industry. And so I just really learned, like taught myself just by looking at the CDs, and I was like, she can't take what's in here. So I ended off with one day she walked by and she thought like I was sneaking and I was on my cell phone, and she's like, who are you talking to? She had the belt in her hand and everything. I'm like, I'm not talking to nobody. She's looking through everything. I'm like, you took everything out. Ain't nothing in here. And she's like lifting up mattresses looking for this cell phone. I was like, I just told her, I'm like, I just memorized the movie or, whatever. And I'm like, I'm just doing this because you won't let me watch TV. So I'm like with my teddy bears and stuff, just trying to, play the movies out, or I'm sitting in the mirror doing it. So yeah, everything I've done, it really started right there in my room with just me by myself and just really figuring it out. One thing in the military is overcome and adapt. And I think that's been a part of my life since birth.
Wow, overcoming and adapting. And within that, it seems like you really were able to foster this gift of artistry just because of going through having a really strict parent. So, man, I love that story, and really to see. So I didn't even know that about you. That's how your artistry came about. With that being said, make sure y'all listen to this episode all the way to the end. Yoshi has a very nice surprise for the Ladies Empowerment Alignment Network. So, stay tuned to this episode. You're not going to want to miss what's at the end. Woo-hoo. So, Yoshi, how did you get from being a military daughter, a military child, to then becoming a military wife? Was that planned, or was that just by chance?
That was it was by chance. I did not really want to marry into the military, and my mom was pretty much like, if you do, this is how you need to be. Don't be like this, because we definitely, some military wives do not have a good name. There's some women out there that but and no shade, that's just what it is. And I say that to say, like if you're at a soccer game, there's those certain soccer moms that's like, oh, here they go. It's like that. And then there's, the cool chill ones. So for me, being in the military, but I actually wanted to join the military. My mom was not having it. And if I was going to go, she wanted me to go the right way, and which is to go to school, leave with some, credits or a degree, and come in as an officer. That is the best way to do it. I just wanted so much to be like her, because she also was a single parent, and she just was a badass, excuse my language. I love seeing her get in her uniform. She took a lot of pride in the way she looked. She did put me in Young Marine program and ROTC, so I was in both. I loved it, and she did it for discipline. But looking back, she's like, you weren't that bad. I'm like, I told you. But we had some stuff we went through, but it is what it is. And so I just really looked up to her, and I looked at a lot of things we went through, and I was like, and it just seemed like she was just making way for the most part, like through a lot. So I was like, man, if I got to be a single mom, I'm going to be, and then I'm going to learn from the mistakes and, obviously be better, which she kind of pushed me to do anyway. So there's that. When it came to marrying into the military, I knew my husband when back in California. We're from Cali. I was really born in Virginia, though. We moved because of the military. But I met him in Cali, and that's home to me. That's so West Coast all day. And he was just in them streets. He wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. And I was like, listen, what do you want to do with your life? And it just seemed like he had nothing. And we were dating at this time. by the time he ended up joining, we were no longer dating. But I didn't tell him to join because I wanted to even marry into the military. We were young, so we weren't even thinking like that. It was like maybe down the line, of course. So it's crazy how it did end up working out. But I was like, you got to figure something out. And you need to join the military. And he had someone else on his end also telling him the same thing. And I'm like, just start there. My mom talked to him, so he had a couple of us in his ear, like, just start there as your foundation because of, some of the cards he was dealt. It was just like, that's the next best thing. So that's what he did. And he is still in and he is thriving. He's an amazing soldier. And I don't say that lightly because I will not hand that out lightly. Being a military brat, I've gotten to see some of the best of them. My little sister's dad is like my dad, and he is a phenomenal, him and my Uncle Donnie, they are phenomenal Marines. And so I say all that to say, like, he couldn't have just been no like rinky-dink soldier. I was not gonna be that at all. At all. I didn't play that. Your uniform is gonna look nice. Like, no, I'm a military princess. I say that all the time. Like, it's no. And so he really pulled it together, and that's just, been the basis. And so we ended up getting back together years later, because we broke up when we were younger, and I swore now I would never be with him. So we were like best friends for years. And supposedly he waited on me, prayed on it, and now we're here. And now I got this little puny head little boy that's married to me. And so I love him. And that's how that happened. But it's not, no, if you'd have told me this would have been my life, nah. 10 out of 10.
Wouldn't have believed it.
No. I don't know if I recommend it. It's rough, but it's worth it in a lot of ways. You are like, we're very proud of our spouses, but a lot of us, it's very different being a military brat and then being a spouse. We think we're ready for this. Our parents do it so we don't have to marry into it. And although I didn't have to, he was already in by the time, things popped off with us. But it wasn't, no, being a military wife is very, it's not for the weak.
Wow. That's crazy how it happened. And you and your family kind of helped make it happen. Just
Yeah.
by being an influence and being such a prominent family in military life to be able to guide and direct a young man. So I love to see how you had a hand in his come up and for lack of better words, before y'all were even together for real, like how y'all are now. So how far into your military marriage did you guys start having children, and how did that change your perspective even more on being a military wife?
So when when I met Christopher, or not met Christopher, when we got back to, when my husband and I decided to get together, I had already had my first daughter, and I kind of like, I have been telling him no for years. So I was like trying to shoot my shot because I'm like, dang, I don't know if I still got one. So I was like throwing little stuff out there, and he was catching the ball. So I'm like, okay, cool, still got it. But I didn't want him to feel like I wanted him because of the situation that I was dealing with when I had my daughter. So I was like, I'm gonna tread lightly. I've always wanted him to feel respected by me. A lot of times when people see a military person, they feel like that's a lick and somebody they can use and take from. And it happens so often in the military. And so I was like, I never wanted him to feel like that. I was in my head because he was like, he was just waiting on me to say yes. So I'm like trying to take it slow. And he's just like, all right, I'm gonna go through the motions, but let's get to the part where we together. So we casually dated because I did have my daughter and I had just got out of a really terrible relationship. So spent most of that pregnancy alone. And but he was still willing to take it slow, be my best friend, and just like, okay, we'll date. We're going to casually date. And I'm like, I got to see how you are around children because I don't trust everybody. We can be great all day, but it's different living with somebody 365 and having a baby that brings on new challenges. So he respected that, and we kind of grew together with that. And then eventually he moved out here for us. So we didn't start having my daughter is his baby. That's his daughter through and through. She loved him. I always say she picked him. because I started growing feelings when I was pregnant. I was like, ugh. I I've been telling him no. Like I was trying to give him to my friends at one point. I'm like, oh, I don't even like light skins no more. She got a lot of style. And so he just he was just like, okay. But he wouldn't talk to none of my friends. And I'm like, okay. So um yeah, once we got together, my daughter, she really didn't like people a lot. So to see her react to him and really just take to him, even at a couple months, like some friends would try to hold her, help me out. She was screaming, crying. She was very picky, but she was like, wobbling to him, trying to get like pick me up. But she a couple months old, so he like, what I do with this? I'm like, you hold her. And he's like, okay, because he's like good with toddlers and stuff. So he's like holding her, and then she's just letting him hold her. I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay. Nah, that's not a sign. Like, but it stuck with me. So I always say she picked him out for me. And so now we're here. But, so when she was about 5, we took it slow. We didn't want children back to back. Although that seems like the thing to do, we were like, that doesn't have to be our story, because now it is great. We see the benefits of it now, having 2 children somewhat back to back. However, for us, we knew like, okay, we're still learning parenting with this one. We got siblings. We were parents to our siblings, but having your own, like, you can't give this one off to your parents. Neither of our parents are out here. So we're just like, okay, no. So everybody's like, well, y'all have another one. Y'all have another one. We're not doing that. And like, it's not that we don't want to, like, people are looking at us crazy and we're just like, the answer is no. So when she was about 5, we yeah, wasn't playing. But I kind of, I knew something was gonna happen. I feel like I know I'm very intuitive with myself, my body, and with God. So I knew, I'm like, a baby's coming. And I heard the name. So same thing with my first daughter, I knew. And so we had Lotus, and she came, and then shortly after, when my husband was away, he came to help, and then Virtue happened. So I'm like, okay, sir, you left something. And so neither of them were really planned, but it was not the best timing. But then again, with parenthood, like, when is really the best time, you're never really fully prepared either way when you think you are. So yeah, they're here and we're happy.
I love your kids too. They're so beautiful and just so full of love and light. I love seeing you guys as a family unit too. With
Ditto.
you guys being a family unit and having your husband travel for the military, how often do you find yourself where it's just you and your kids since you've been married?
Um, all the time. It feels like, I feel like, from us being together, from dating, engagement to marriage, if I could count on my hands and my toes, I feel like it's a little bit more than that. But how many times he's really been home for a full year, I wouldn't have to use all hands and toes. He was often gone a lot. He was in a rapid deploying unit. So with that being said, he's at work a lot more. You know, and he's just been gone like a lot. And then let's say he deployed when I was about 2.5 months pregnant with my daughter. Actually, the day I found out I was pregnant, he got the call that he was going to be deploying, and I was just, we got the call first, and I'm like, I'm really only going to the doctor to confirm what I already know. But I'm like, oh snap. And I'm like, hey, what if I was? And he's just like, no, it wouldn't be the right time. So, good that you not, are you? And I'm like, So he didn't catch on, and I wanted to surprise him, but eventually ended up telling him that I was pregnant. But because it was already too late at that point, you can't really turn back and tell the military like, hey. So he deployed when I was 2.5 months for a year, and then well, it was close to, yeah, very close to a year, pretty much a year. And then he came back. He was here for a little bit, and then he got orders for a 3-year contract. A little bit after that. And then, of course, in between, he was always going on different missions and stuff like that. So I can't really count how many times he's gone, but it is enough to be frustrated at.
Yeah. How do you feel during those times of frustration when you're now handling and caring for 3 children by yourself while your husband's out serving our country?
um, At first, I felt really defeated. I felt like it wasn't fair. But I saw myself having a lot of flashbacks of friends. As like a military brat, sometimes our parents are so strict. We're like, hey, we just hope they come back safe. But we're like, they're gone for 2 weeks. They got like, I could go stay at my friend's house. And then growing up, seeing different things from like issues and divorces that we saw, but we didn't really pay full blown attention to, or we later saw the divorces and things like that. Different struggles that were right there, but we were just like, as long as it's not like a major deployment, we were just like, okay, cool, bye. Like, miss you, but bye. Because our parents were all mostly strict. Now, the deployments are definitely something that's kind of more scary. So I say all that to say, when it comes to my husband being gone a lot, I think I felt very defeated at first, and I felt robbed. And I thought I knew. My biggest thing that I will always say is, I'm supposed to be prepared for this. I thought I was prepared for this, and I'm not. If it was just me, fine, because some deployments we can go with him. COVID messed up a lot. So the deployment he went to when I was pregnant, um, that deployment we actually could have went, but COVID was like, no extra families on the base. So that would have been nice to go to with him just for a little bit and come back. And him being gone and me having to be here now is very frustrating most days because I'm doing everything by myself. So now my perspective has changed. I would be lying if I said there aren't days I still feel defeated, but I have the endurance along with the strength to keep going. I have different tools that I have remembered, like, okay, I need to get back to this. I need to get back to that. Like, praying things on my spiritual journey that I picked up. All of that prepped me for these moments right here. Little did I know. I'm thinking it's prepping me to heal past traumas and things like that and things that I've made in those moments. But it's like, no, now these are things I can incorporate for myself and my children. So, yeah, most days I think defeated is the biggest word. But there are times where the military will try to show their appreciation to the wives because they do understand we're on this journey with them. And so they'll show appreciation to the wives and our children. But unfortunately, it's just what we signed up for. So it's like there's only so much that we can do. And anytime there's children involved, it's even harder because even if I could pick myself up and be like, okay, today's going to be a great day regardless, then I have kids that are crying and they're like, this is so not fair. Other people get their dad. Why my dad can't be here? He always has to come in spurts. So that's probably the hardest thing and the one that tugs on my strings. That is still an issue till this day is resetting them every time he comes in. When he comes in, it's great. When he's leaving, it's the reset. And then it's the meltdowns and everything else that I have to deal with on my own. So our biggest thing when he comes in, we're like, nobody asks, if possible, but most people don't mean it. But it's like, please just don't ask in front of the kids. Like, hey, when you leaving, because in their mind, we're like, we just need up until like that day before to kind of break it to them. So, yeah, it's very challenging. And I would not recommend, I'm not saying I don't recommend marrying into a military, like create a military family, but you have to really know what it comes with. And this is not like any job. He can't just up and quit. He can't just say no because there's consequences that come with that, long-term consequences. So you have to really understand what that comes with, especially if you're someone like me who has a child from someone else and there's state laws that are involved. That can kind of create a barrier, especially if that other parent is not willing to play ball. So with that being said, it's been very challenging to say the least, but I'm much
Mm.
better now than I was day one and year one. Year one was very rough.
Man, I'm so proud of you because you do handle it like a boss. From the times I see you, and that girl be having two diaper bags, a baby here, a hand here, and she making it happen, and still always comes with such love and wanting to help and give. Yoshi, I really do appreciate that light in you. That even in all your juggling of balls, you still find a chance to be like, "Hey, how can I help? I'm gonna help you go forward as well." So I love that about you.
Thank you.
What tools have you done? I know you mentioned a little bit ago that you've had to implement tools. and pull things out of your arsenal that you learned in the past to be able to sustain those hard days. So, what are some of those tools, and what do those regimens look like for you to get past the hard days?
So definitely, honestly, having God first at the forefront. Kind of, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. I have my own relationship with God, and we locked in. That's just me, and that's what works for me. And I say that because a lot of people may not fully understand that, and it's no shade to anyone that is religious. It's just simply God is. People kind of get it confused, and I don't mind explaining and going depth, at another time. But for me, God has always been at the forefront for me. So when all else fails, I will fall to my knees and just be like, it's not even about being like, there's days I've literally dropped my stuff, didn't even lock my door, which is not smart these days, but just cried on my floor. And I'm like, God, like, I can't. You got to drive me to my room at this point. Like, I can't. So, you know, definitely, like, literally praying was my first and foremost, you know. And then after that, it comes with me. I'm also a Reiki healer. And when I took, when I became certified to be a Reiki healer, there were different tools and things we learned to kind of ease our nervous system. And a lot of people might hear that and think it's just about balancing chakras, and it is, in a lot of ways, but it's really just helping to focus on that mind, body, and soul, that universal life force. And so I use both together. Like, I will pray, but I will give myself an attunement. I will give my children an attunement. Um, there's different things that I will practice as far as like that were passed down from like family members and things like that. And that's simply writing down affirmations, placing it on my mirror. I might light my sage to clear my energy and let that energy out my door. So I'm sure my neighbors smell my sage all the time. But it's just one of those things where we have the power within us, and a lot of us feel like we have to lean on all these different. You don't have to. We have the tools right at our fingertips, honestly. And so whether it's dancing is something that helps me. I will dance in my room. I will go take a dance class, and then I can release. I will write, and that helps me to release. And if I can't do nothing else, literally, I will just sit in my room and I will just pray. Journaling helps, things like that. And that way I can go back and reflect and say, oh, wow, I can see how I overcame that, or I was feeling this way. And so that helps me when I'm doing reflection to see my growth and give myself those pats on the back, like, girl, you did that. Like, I'm proud of you. Because a lot of people are like, I don't see how you do it, but it's like, I have no choice. Like, I wouldn't give up on him or my kids because of a situation that we have no control over. Because like a lot of times, like in this case, the military isn't fully to blame. We have laws that we're up against, which is why we cannot all be together when another person does not want to play ball. So I have to keep my intentions pure and set the example for my children. And when nothing else, looking in their face and realizing like, okay, if I react this way, you may remember that. I don't know what's going to stick for you. We don't know as parents what's going to stick. Just like our parents probably didn't know, like, girl, that still bothered you. Like, or, oh, I didn't know you remembered that. Like, so yeah, anything that can ignite me and make me happy. I will go walk sitting by water. I'll find a lake real quick. I try to just not give myself any excuses. And if I need to cry, I will sit and cry and I won't feel bad about it because it cleanses my soul. I will sit in my room, laugh and cry. If I need to call on someone, then I will call on someone and say, hey, I'm not at my best. I'm about to lose it. And I feel like I'm not going to do it, but I have the thoughts of doing something stupid. So I need that accountability. Like, please talk to me. I'm not okay. And that takes a lot of strength and bravery too, just to call someone and say that. And so because I know I have people that I can do that with, I do that. So I have more than enough tools, and I try to give myself no excuses because I do have my kids. If nothing else, them, but also for myself. Because when I drop them off at school, and although they see me as superhero, super mom, I still got to be my best self for me. And I wanted to be happy too. I didn't want to walk around, woe is me. And although the situation is kind of challenging and it feels unfortunate a lot of the time. Somehow, some way, we've made it with him paying for 2 households. We've made it, um, closing the end of our 3rd year, and we've been able to still thrive. And that's been nothing but God, like, and guardian angels, and things of that nature. So, if nothing else, I would always say start there. Just start with God and start with yourself. What tools do you have? And don't self medicate with negative things. You can do that with positive things. So if you're trying to get your body right, don't eat that ice cream. But if you deserve some ice cream, you can have ice cream. Just make sure your intentions are different. So every day when I get up, it's like, today's going to be a good day no matter what. And I find myself facing challenges and everything still works out no matter what. So I have to say that. I have to tell myself I'm in a safe space. I have to quiet my mind, quiet the noise, take the breaks that I need. Because if I don't, I will lose it. And I don't want to lose it, because it's not helping for just myself too, so that I can be better for my kids and as well as my husband.
Yeah, girl, you got to be strong for everybody. That
Yeah.
mom had is a big role, especially with the dynamics that you guys have. It's not your average dynamics that most of us face. Like, oh, my child's struggling in school. No, now your child's struggling in school, and it's because dad's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to be gone, and he doesn't have a choice but to be gone. We're gonna have harsher conditions later.
Yeah.
So, I really commend you, and I'm glad that you do have all those tools in your tool belt to push you through on those hard days. What words would you give a woman who is in that first year of marriage as a military spouse and has a baby, and she's in her first year of motherhood all together?
I would tell her to do not give up and to continue to persevere through the hard times. Do not allow any outside or negative energy affect the way you make your moves, the way you do things. Um, I would strictly say pray. If you don't pray, meditate. If you do both, great, do both. Always find things to do for yourself too. Make time for yourself too, first and foremost. Even if it feels like you can't, you have to find that time. And even when it's quiet, you can sit, or you can find that time to go get yourself done up and make yourself feel nice. Because when you look good, you do feel better. It's just finding the little things, finding that time. You may not have time to go to the nail shop and get your hair done, but if you can stop and do your nails yourself, you know how to do it, do your nails. That way it's already done. So next time you have a window to get your hair done or do whatever, you can do that. And it's already done. So it's one less thing you have to worry about. So really just not giving up, and just don't listen to the noise. Like, you have to keep going. You have to know what you signed up for, but it's not necessarily a punishment. It's just being aware and overcoming and adapting. And anytime you have to overcome and adapt to different climates and change, it's not always easy. Climbing a mountain is not easy, even for the best hikers. It's not always easy. If it's a different mountain, you don't know what's around that corner. You don't know what the next steps look like. You don't know it like that same mountain over there. And even if you do know that same mountain, something else could have happened. So it's really easy to want to crash out. It's easy to want to, even attack your partner sometimes, or just, take it out on people and they don't understand. The best thing to do is to communicate and talk to your team if you have one. If not, get out and network, because there are people out there that want to support you and be there and love on you. And there's resources everywhere, even therapy. It's all great. And don't be ashamed of your story. Just don't feel ashamed of anything. That's probably my biggest thing. And when you feel defeated, go to, you can look back in your past, what helped you as a kid. And for me, that was also writing, but also literally in my room talking to God. Like, my mom is thinking like, oh, there's somebody in your room again. Like, nope, talking to God, like you said. And I'm not lying. So it's like, just find, you don't have to lose yourself, and you don't have to let that situation define you, in a sense of, I'm just a military mom, I'm just a military wife, and I have to sit here and I have to do this and I have to take this. No, you don't. You can be whoever you want to be along with being a military wife. And I try not to let these situations define me. And for a while it did. I didn't, and we do it unintentionally. So just listening, being gentle with yourself as well, especially on the deployments, being gentle and patient. And there's always tools. There's always tools. There's always something to do for you. And when in doubt, call on what you know.
I love that so much, Yoshi. Thank you so much for empowering us, opening up with us, sharing your story, especially because it's your current reality. So to be vulnerable with it is greatly appreciated. A lot of the times here on the Lean podcast, we hear from women about things they've been through, but you're actually living it now and can still talk about it, which shows you are empowered through this situation as it's occurring. So we love you and we do appreciate it so much. Where
I,
can the ladies find you?
you can find me on Instagram at Yoshi with two eyes and a Z is. So it'll be Yoshi is me, and me is MEI. So yeah, Yoshi is me on Instagram, and Facebook is Yoshi Yosh. I think I didn't change that. Um, yeah, I think it's still Yoshi Yosh on Facebook. I took a little mini break, so I'm like,
We'll make sure y'all to check out the show notes because there'll be more details of where you can find her. Do you have any last words you want to leave with the audience, as far as just any words of empowerment or anything else that's on your heart you want to share about the topic?
yeah, my biggest thing that I would say, Tom Blue in the face, is just don't allow your situation to define you in any negative light. Just always transmute that energy to positive, and stay strong. There is still a lot of perks to us being military wives and mothers. We're badasses, just like my mother was, just like my dad and my uncles are. And any of my family that served in the military, they did great things. I've got friends that served in the military that did great things. And, y'all's journey is y'all's journey, but it can still be beautiful. It does not, just because it's one rough patch, you can always, again, transmute that energy and find the positive and the happy moments. And we got to make sure we love on our soldiers, especially our men or our partners, period, because they too have different things that they deal with mentally. And so, us being our best self and being that rock for them as well is very essential and important. So, just always continue to motivate your partner, but don't forget about you either, because it'll do more damage to the home. So they say happy wife, happy life, but it's really happy spouse, happy house. And how you can do that is just don't ever forget about you, and don't let that situation define you in a negative light. Always transmute the negative to a positive, and understand. I think the biggest thing on my journey, that knows sometimes just mean not yet. Sometimes a no is protection. Um, and if you are someone like myself who dealt with being a military parent and co-parenting with someone who is not willing to, you know, aid in the right way, then staying strong and just realizing that you can come out of this. Sometimes we feel defeated and we feel like they won the battle, but they did not win the war. As long as you move with the purest intentions, God's got you the whole way. And if that's not your thing, as long as you move with the purest intentions, I still believe some of the greatest people that have different beliefs still can have amazing paths as well. So it's literally just about transmuting the negative into the positive, and staying strong, and definitely calling on your accountability partners. But, definitely use your discernment for sure when it comes to a lot of people.
Awesome. I love it. I'm going to take my little notes down. I love transmitting the negative into the positive. So
Yes.
that's beautiful. I'm super excited for what you have to share coming up next. So make sure you guys are turning up your music, your stereos. If you're in the car, if you're listening on your AirPods or whatever device you're listening on, turn it up because artist Yoshi is going to drop some bars, and these are words for all of us to feel pure to our soul. So as she shares, just know that she is speaking to every single one of us, and that we are all individually wonderfully made and for a purpose. So really tune into this, and you might hear this on the intro of the Lean podcast one day if she lets me. So we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
So stay tuned, and the next voice you'll hear is our artist Yoshi.
All right, we bringing back conscious rap music. All my empresses, all my goddesses, all my queens. Turn your volume up. Okay. This is for the queens with the fire in their chest, grinding through the struggle, still rising to their best. Dreams in their sight, never settling for less. In alignment with their purpose, that's the ultimate flex. Walking in their truth, yeah, they rewriting scripts, turning every doubt into dollars in their grips. Ladies lean in, feel the power that we beam. LEA network, that's the dream. Higher purpose calling, gotta answer, no delay. Stepping in the light, watch the shadows fade away. From the ballroom to the block, man, the mission's the same. Building bridges, breaking ceilings, and we playing no games. They not like us, main character energy. Vision crystal clear, ain't no need for Visine. Ladies leaning in, man, the synergy supreme. Lean to the top, turning visions into streams. Stand tall, stand proud, yeah, we break through the seams. Living bold, living free, and we chasing higher dreams. Lean, feel the vibe, let it flow through your team. Align in the light, now we reign supreme. Stand tall, stand proud, yeah, we break through the seams. Living bold, living free, and we chasing higher dreams. Lean, feel the vibe, let it flow through your team. Align in the light, now we reign supreme. Lean, lean, ladies, what? Lean, lean, empower, yeah. Lean, lean, align, lean. Network, yeah. And if that resonated with you and you felt that fire in your chest, I need you to put your hand over your heart. You can tap anywhere you want to, or you can snap your fingers. Say these affirmations with me. I am a source of inspiration and strength for myself and others. I am a magnet for meaningful and impactful relationships, building a network that empowers growth and collaboration. I am empowered to lead with confidence, motivate, and inspire my network. I am aligned with divine timing, knowing everything is unfolding perfectly for me. I love me. I am proud of me. And on this next one, I need y'all to have big energy when you say this. I need you to say, Yoshi is me. Because yes, you are motivating, empowering, and inspiring. And if you felt motivated, enlightened, and ignited, if this is your truth and it resonated with you, you are in alignment. We are in alignment, and we are a direct reflection of you. I see you, and I'm proud of you, Queen. And before I get off this beat, I do have to give my flowers to the CEO herself. Mahogany, may you continue to be in alignment with the energy of success and abundance. Shout out to your guardian angels for motivating you to empower others to tell their story while they also inspire others. Gratitude, sis. I love you. We lean in into our higher purpose every time. Okay? Ashe, Yoshi is me. Peace.